Some people resting just 3 rounds to end the Super Chess Classic Grand Chess Tour in Romania. Gamer is on the top with 1 point to spare from the rest of the players, but Van Forest in the round 7 is going to take a free point because he faced Firuza who leaves the tournament. So Gamer needs to win or draw in this game to still be in solo leader. And Sindarov start at the tournament with one loss against Pragnland and the rest of game making draw. So Gamer wants to keep the leadership and Sindarov wants to come back. So let's see what happens in this amazing round of the game of the round three of the Grand Chess Tour. Okay, Sindarov opened with d4, knight f6 by Gamer, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3. Nowadays we are seeing here bishop before the Ragozin defense in the majority of the elite games, but Gamer prefers the very solid move c5, the Tarras or the semi-Tarras. C takes d5. That is very common nowadays in the elite, this move to make draw. I think that WesleySo employed that too. C takes, queen d4, e takes d4. Now we are in a isolated pawn position, so okay, it's more or less equal. In the isolated pawns position, to explain a little bit this type of position, the d5 pawn is giving black more space to develop his pieces, and white black have all his diagonal from the bishops. He can develop the knights to c6, f6, go castle. Black is not going to have any troubles with his development, but he's going to have a long-term weakness with the pawn on d5, who can give you activity, but in the long term can be a weakness if some pieces are traded. Especially if you are facing the isolated pawns, it's going to benefit you to keep queens and rooks over the board and trade the minor pieces, or keep this bishop for black, which is bad bishop. But in general, keep queens and rooks over the board is very benefit for white. One day I should make some videos explaining more about the isolated pawn. Okay, here one of the main moves are e4, but this leads to an equal endgame with d takes, queen takes, king takes, knight g5, bishop e6. And okay, white have the ace of pair, but objectively it's equal, this position. I was trade, and doesn't score so bad. Scores more or less fine for white, but Sindarov prefer, and I'm sure that Gamer have this endgame very, very well analyzed. So Sindarov prefers a less forced move with bishop d5, bishop e7, 92. The idea is anticipate 96. Here the main move is e3. A king d2 is a little bit secondary, but okay, it's completely normal. Queen d2, bishop e6, e3, sword castle, bishop d3. All these moves are completely normal, just making the development. h6, bishop f4, knight c6, sword castle. Here, knight h5 is interesting, taking the bishop pair. This is a good move. I said some months ago that for black it's better to keep more pieces over the board because the d5 pawn gives him a small special advantage and he should try to attack. But okay, you are taking the ace of pair, so take the ace of pair compensate the idea of trade pieces. So knight h5 is fine, bishop e5 takes, and here you can return to f6. And then knight on h5 now is not making nothing, or just rook c8. Knight f6 is the human move, but the machines prefer a little bit rook c8. By the way, rook c8 instead of knight h5 is completely fine. h3, again, knight h5 was fine. Queen b6. No, the position is more or less equal. We have a balanced position of an isolated one. Rook c1. I like this move before taking space. I really like before, but okay, rook ac1 is normal. Rook fd8. And now interesting move here by white, knight a4. h3 here was completely fine, of course. Uh, Rook fd1 it's not good because after knight d4 the rook is not good place on d1. On e1 is slightly better because black planning is knight d4 now. But okay, I really like the move knight a4 by white because now black have all his pieces good place and he's coming with knight d4. So white should react with some moves. So knight a4 is very interesting attacking the queen. Queen b3 still attacking the queen. Bishop c2, queen b5, and now queen d1. I suppose that queen d1, the idea is free the bishop and play bishop d3 in the next move. I suppose that that's the white idea now. Play bishop a3 and have the knight defended with queen d1. So that's the idea behind queen d1. h3 was the favorite move of the machine. By the way, queen d1 is normal. And here Gamer play d4. It's a very interesting pawn sacrifice. Knight a5 is the other move, preventing bishop d3 because if bishop d3, here you have knight c4. But d4, this pawn sacrifice by Gamer was very interesting. Open line for his pieces. I don't comment before, but one of the typical ideas when you have an isolated pawn is sacrifice the pawn to open lines. Sometimes it's to open lines, or sometimes it's to trade pieces and make a draw. You have these two ideas. When you sacrifice the pawn, you can make it or just to open all the lines and attack in your opponent, or just to simplify the position and trade pieces. But okay, when you play d4, to simplify, you are going to take back the pawn. If you are not going to take back the pawn, that means that you just want to open files. So, very interesting move, open files by Vincent Kamer. But okay, another day I'm going to make more videos just talking only about the isolated pawn. By the way, this game was very shows this interesting theme, who is sacrifice the isolated pawn to open file for the pieces. Now we are seeing that the queen open all the forerank, the rook is being open, this diagonal for the bishop, this square for the knight. So it's a move who have many sense. 94, 94, 54, and now is white, the guy who have the isolated weak pawn, and black have his piece is very active. Now let's see that this knight is strange on a4. Sorry, fuck. This knight here is in the corner, and white pieces doesn't coordinate so good. Let's see that all the black pieces are perfectly placed and white pieces are not so coordinated. So bishop d7, good move. The idea is threat. Rook takes e2, bishop b3, rook takes, bishop takes. The see that white is going back with the pieces. Bishop d4, provoking f3. Bishop g4 is very interesting, provoking f3. But here Gamer doesn't find the correct way. Till here was a perfect game. Both players are making all the good moves. Until here was a perfect game by both sides, but the best move to stick with the initiative was okay. White should still play inactive because White has an extra pawn. So the active move here was bishop e6. Very good move. Looks like you are creating problems and you are opening your king because after bishop takes, f takes, and the black king can look a little bit more stalled, but the black king is well defended, and the huge point of the position is that now e5 is coming. That's the doesn't matter what you are going to make with white. E5 is coming. For example, if rook one, e5. In before here, e5 is very natural. If knight c3 attacking the queen, we just leave. And for example, if knight e2, e5 is coming all the time. Or if bishop e3, we have this extra tactic with bishop e3. So there are many tactics, but the huge point of the position is that e5 is coming and black have zero problems after e5. So I think that white should think how it's going to equal here. The position is still being equal, but I think that for black it's so easy to play now, just e5 in the move. But again, this is more or less equal. But bishop e6 is very important to still with the initiative. And if you doesn't like bishop e6, bishop f5 are a better option, but bishop e6 is the move to still with the initiative. Because, okay, this d4 is a very good move, but you still need to play accurate to demonstrate your counterplay for the pawn. And bishop d7 to start is very good, but here bishop d4 very good, so, provoking f3, opening the white king. But here bishop e6 was very important. Play e5 in the next move. He played instead of that bishop c8, and now white is better because now white is going to consolidate more or less the position. Queen h5, queen e2 now. White is placing of his pieces more or less normal. g4. Okay, can look that you are opening your king, but it's more or less safe. Here, queen h4 and queen h3 was stronger, keeping the queen close to the white king, trying to attack. I prefer these two moves, keeping the queen close. The queen a5 is bad, because just after 94, very strong. Now, white has zero problems in the position, and it's just a an extra pawn, and it's black who the guy who is going to be attacked after g5. Very good move. And now white have all the initiative. And knight takes, pawn takes, opening the rook. Let's see that this bishop, sorry, this bishop and the rook are attacking the f7 pawn with huge initiative. So after takes, before takes, and now the white position is completely winning. So very good move for Sindarov. He made all the good moves. Was a very good precise game, a very precise game by Sindarov, making all the. So he made a normal development. Okay, they reached an equal position. Later, came sacrifice this pawn. Very aggressive, but good sacrifice. But here he cannot manage to find how to steal with the initiative. And after, yes, Gamer just make one mistake, who is bishop c here. He should play bishop e6 with the idea of e5 now. Instead of that, he played bishop c8, and after that, Sindarov made all the good moves, and he won a very good game. So yes, great game by Sindarov, who is the leader. And now after this game, Van Forest tied Gamer into the first position with 4.5 points of 7. And let's see if Fabiano beats Bragg in the same round to chase the leaders too. I'm going to analyze this game now, so let's see how continue the tournament. Bye bye.